On the 7th of July 2005, life changed for Martine Wright as she, as normal, took the Circle Line to work here in London on the Underground, and a terrorist bomb exploded just 4 feet away from her. We're very grateful that she's come here to St Paul's to be part of this series in which we ask what really matters. Martine, welcome to St Paul's Cathedral. It's really good to have you here. How does it feel coming into the cathedral?
Amazing. I mean, it's a beautiful building. As I said, the last time I came here was part of the London Fire Brigade Carol service, and I had the pleasure of bringing my whole family here. So it's lovely to be back.
Well, it's great to have you here. And could you just tell us about 7th of July 2005, nearly 10 years ago now? It was an ordinary day going to work. What happened?
Yeah, like any other day, I'd actually been out the night before celebrating with work colleagues and friends because it was announced that day that London had won the Olympic and Paralympic bid. Got up that morning, slightly late for work, and got on a Circle Line tube, and it changed my life forever. I was sat just 4 foot away from one of the suicide bombers that decided to hit London that morning. My family searched for me for nearly 2 days, something that I still can't comprehend, but they searched for me for 2 days, but they finally found me at the Royal London Hospital, and I'd lost both my legs above the knee and been resuscitated several times, but I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for a very kind, the kindest person in the world, and that is what I call she's my guardian angel, and that's Liz Kenworthy, and she was the off-duty policewoman that day that stayed with me and saved my life. Basically, gave me tourniquets to put around my legs and saved my life, and stayed with me until I was taken out, because I was the last survivor on that tube, and she stayed with me. And
on that day you lost, I read, 80% of your blood.
Yeah, I lost both my legs above the knee. I lost 80% of my blood.
You were in a coma?
Yeah, I'd been resuscitated several times. It looked like I was going to lose my left arm as well, but again, the doctors and nurses were just absolutely amazing, and my arm was saved. But yeah, I was in a coma for 10 days, so knew nothing of the dramas of what happened. I mean, I do remember when the explosion happened, and obviously I didn't think this is a bomb. I just had a white flash in front of my eyes, and I had a feeling that I was being shook from left to right, basically. And I've used the analogy before of, a Tom and Jerry cartoon when Tom hits Jerry with a saucepan or something, and you see them in the cartoon going ding. I felt like that, but obviously I just thought it was a crash, and then obviously woke up 10 days later to see that my legs were gone.
And your initial feelings when?
Initial feelings was my life's over. Initial feelings was I've got no legs. How am I going to carry on? Why did this happen to me? I'm a good person. And I'm sure you've met people in your daily working life, I suppose, that people deal with tragedy and traumatic circumstances in different ways. But there was definitely a turning point that I was faced with, and that was on a day. It came probably about 6 weeks after it happened. And I was just about strong enough to go to the physio for the first time at Royal London. And that was a turning point for me, because I went into this room and saw all different people, but I saw a girl who is one of my friends now, and she'd lost both her arms and both her legs through meningitis. So that was a huge eye-opener, obviously. Then I met other victims of the bombings who might not have been as physically injured as me, but psychologically they were completely traumatised. And but the big thing was that was the day that I found out how many people died that day. 52 people, young people, innocent people on the way to work had been killed. And before that day, I had no idea at all. So I think that was the day, that was the turning point for me, that I basically said, right, Martine, pull yourself together. You've got two choices, and either you can sit there and keep asking why me, and saying I've got no legs, or get new legs and learn to walk again. And that's why I think I'm so lucky to be sat here today.
And you chose life that day, and hope, and what you've done since is extraordinary. I mean, got married, had a child, and of course known to many of us because of your Paralympic activities. Just tell us a bit about how all that's been over the I mean, that's been extraordinary.
Yeah, I mean, I vowed to sort of, after that day, as you said, I had a choice, and I had a choice to live my life because I was a lucky one. I still had my life. But I vowed that I would grab every opportunity, and, I have grabbed every opportunity, and I think sometimes my family, sort of, I can see them sometimes going, oh, there she goes again, But yes, I got married to Nick, who was my boyfriend before it happened, and we had our beautiful son Oscar, and I've done lots of extraordinary things that I would never have done if it weren't for losing my legs. So I've learnt to fly planes and jumped out of a plane. That was not a popular one for my mum and dad at all. And obviously, I'm so lucky because I rediscovered sport, and I tried all different sports, but I fell in love with sitting volleyball, and now I'm captain of the team. But I went to London. I went to Paralympics 2012 in London, in my hometown, and I truly believe that I was always meant to make that journey, that I was always meant to go back to my hometown of London and perform at the Paralympics, and that I believe that was part of the reason why I was involved that day.
So you don't get that question, why me, haunting you anymore?
No, I don't. I get more of a question of I was meant to get on that train, because I remember that morning, and I was running up the escalator, and I did have periods in the beginning of why was I running up the escalator. Well, I always used to run up escalators, but now the question is I don't think I could have done anything to stop it, and I think that was a journey I was supposed to make, because they just seem, they might, I don't know, it might just be connections, it might be fate, it might be a journey, a path that has been laid out for me, but there are so many connections and coincidences between the 7th of July and the Paralympics. So obviously, it was the day before that London announced that it had won the bid. That was the whole reason why I was late that morning, because I'd been out the night before. The last thing I was reading on the tube was my papers, and obviously that day you couldn't turn the paper without seeing everything on the Olympics and Paralympics. And I distinctly remember before the explosions happened, I thought, wow, I'm a Londoner. I've got to get tickets to this. I've got to get tickets. And now what I see is either a journey I was supposed to be on, or a twist of fate that I've just come back from taking part.
So you're a person who's come very, very near to death, and that's distilling. The series is asking this question. What matters? What really matters? I
mean, for me, what I've been through as a result of what happened. I would never have got through that if it weren't for the love and the relationships I have with my family and friends. And I think, I think when something happens in your life that makes you reassess something, there was no question at all that what I treasured more and what got me through the trauma was the relationships I had with my family, my friends, the health care professionals, Liz Kenworthy, and myself. Really, it was rediscovering myself, and I think that's what counts, is the relationships and the love that you have for people. I've come up with this thing which is called Team Me, and we all have a Team Me, and we're part of someone else's Team Me, and my Team Me is made up of all the people that have taken care of me and also have enabled me to get through the last 9 years and have helped me, grab those opportunities that I've had and given me the strength to carry on when I thought that I couldn't carry on.
And I mean, a lot of younger people, actually all of us, but I notice a lot in younger people are looking for wisdom. There's a bit of a wisdom deficit. Everybody's, sounding off about this, that and the other. People want things that are distilled and important. And what would you pass on then to younger people, maybe your own son?
Yeah, I think it's just, make sure that you tell your loved ones that you love them, and value that relationship and learn from that relationship as well. I mean, obviously, we all get times, I'm 42 and I still get times when I roll my eyes when my mum and dad might say something to me, but seriously, they are your guidance, they are your, they're the people that love you, that care for you, and that can show you, I suppose, what's right in the world. Also I think as well, for my son as well, I say to him, you just got to be happy, and I want you to be happy, and I want you to number one, grab every opportunity, whatever you want to do. I don't care what you want to do, but I just want you to be happy, and I want you to value those relationships, because they will make you into the man that you want to be. And also as well, I say to him, that I think it just goes over his head at the moment, he might be slightly too young, is anything, absolutely anything is possible as long as you believe, and I truly believe that. If there's some dream, something that you want to do and you think it's never going to be possible, it is possible. And again, with determination, with the support from your Team Me, I believe that anything is possible.
Well, he's got a fabulous example in his own home, of course, there. I mean, that word belief is obviously a key word here. Does God, is that a word that means anything to you? Faith, are these important or not?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I was brought up. I went to Sunday school myself, and I definitely believe in something. I don't know whether, I don't know what it is, but I believe that there is definitely something there. I mean, coming back here, it's a very comforting place. I think maybe religion for me is again, I suppose, to do with those relationships, to do with the relationships of maybe, people in the community as well. And it's that give and take with those relationships. And I mean, that day, the 7th of July, you know, it was an awful day, and everyone will obviously always remember it, you know. I suppose I liken it sometimes to when JFK got shot. Everyone will remember where they were. But even though it was an awful day that you know, affected everyone, there were two ends of the scale of humanity, I suppose. At one end, you know, you had the bombers that got onto the trains, onto the buses, and did the most selfish act. You know, I do question what was going on there, and maybe they didn't have the relationships, they didn't have the love that they should have had, you know, whereby maybe they felt like they wanted to do that. So that was at one end of the scale. But then the other end of the scale, there's the absolute fantastic people that just wanted to help people risking their own lives for others, to help others. So again, I think that's all to do with relationships. So yeah, even though it was an awful day, I think there have been positives from it. So.
Well, now that you've got this public profile, what do you finally hope to do now with that? I mean, what do you want to achieve from what you've learned?
Yeah. I mean, I still want to be. I mean, you know, I'm still very sporty. I'm captain of the Great Britain sitting volleyball team. So there's a small competition coming up in 2016 in Rio. So we're still going for that. So that's a lot of hard work ahead. And again, you know, from the support and the love of my family, I can do that. You know, I can throw myself into it and do it, and hopefully make them proud. That was a big thing for me at London. But I always want to be long term an ambassador of sport, because I truly believe that we can use sport not just to keep people fit, but to use it within smaller communities, wider communities, in the whole great scheme of things, to I believe, create great social change, positive social change. But I suppose, you know, if there's one person out there that has maybe, you know, been through tragedy or going through a hard time, and if there's only just one person out there that maybe they've seen me, or maybe they've seen me talk, or you know, and if they've gone, actually, you know, it's not the end of the world that this has happened, and I can go on. You know, Martine has, and I suppose if I've done that just for one person, then I think all the pain and anguish that I went through losing my legs, you know, it's all been worth it, I believe.
Well, you've done it for many more people than one, and an ambassador for sport you are, but I think you're really an ambassador for the human spirit, and for that, you know, we want to thank you here at St Paul's, and thank you also for coming here to talking to me today. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much.